most of your celebrities and almost all your top CEOs globally, I do all their nutrition. So everything is definitely related to your goal. But if we're going to start with just health.
Right. Well, let's get into what you say is the priority list of supplements. This is where you need to start.
Yep.
And you can build off of that, but this will cover your ass, and then this would just be optimal. Right. Yep. So where does that start with you?
Okay, so right off the bat, 3 things. Let me see. Do you think our listeners could guess what I think is the number one first thing you have to get? You did it in the womb, You're going to do it all the way to the tomb. A complete multivitamin. Now, when I say complete, it's got to have a minimum of 18 to like 22 of the vitamins and minerals that we know you have a potential to underconsume based on your diet, based on everything, okay? Or not being in the foods that you're eating because it's not in the soil, even though you think you were getting them. So that's nothing. And as long as you got $12 a month, you can get that.
Yeah.
Okay. And if you don't have $12 a month, if you're really going to find something that you're spending $12 a month and put it there. Okay. So good things will happen in your life as you go forward. So that's number one. Number two, if again, then you get a little option here. Okay. Would be your omega-3s if you're not eating 3. And I'm going to go all the way to 4 servings of fish a week. We used to say 2 to 4, and can forget those. That's outdated information. Now we can measure your omega-3 levels in your body with an index. And for Americans, we're the lowest anywhere on the planet for omega-3 index. And people with higher omega-3 indexes, which is about 8%. When you reach that number, you just have a much healthier life overall, everything about it, from cardiovascular, cognitive function, everything. Because omega-3s are part of every one of the membranes in our cells. It helps us communicate, and more importantly, they're resolvers. What I mean by that is they control inflammation, which is the thing that ages all of us. And when we get sick, our inflammation is more. We end up on machines because ventilators or something when we get too sick, and the omega-3s are a big part of resolving those issues. So that's that, and of course, cognitive function. So that's number 2.
Number 3?
Number 3 would be the calcium if you're not getting it from your diet. Now, the laws now for the last 10 years, calcium has to be on the label. That's how serious a problem is. Tells you how much. You don't want to go over the 1,200 or 1,500 milligrams a day. So that's why it's important that it's important you get that much, but it's important you don't go over. Yeah. And your labels are all on there.
So that's true for all minerals, right?
Yeah, all minerals have a very tight window of too little, bad things. Too much, bad things, and it's a tight window. And that's why a multi should have all those right numbers in the minerals. Vitamins, especially water soluble, I don't care how much you go over on those. Yeah. Okay, so you got those 3 supplements we just talked about. If one is not negotiable.
The multivitamin.
Not negotiable. Not an option. Okay. The other 2 can be. All right. And then finally, the other thing, this doesn't have to supplement this either, but a protein. The reason I'm telling you, I don't know people. You need to get, this is all the latest science and no one can refute it. You need to get 1 gram per pound of lean body mass daily of protein. To do that with food, your grocery bill's going to be too high, and it's inconvenient because you got to cook everything, right? So that's not going to happen. And again, we're not talking about the RDA. That's easy. You can get that in 1 meal. That's a joke. That is something. The RDA is another thing that borders malpractice. Anybody that hangs on to that. I'm talking about for protein. Other ones is fine.
Right.
So if you add a good protein powder, like if you're a vegan, a good plant protein powder, if you're not, you can have a whey protein, and some other animal protein powder, you get that. Now it's there and you can guarantee you're going to get it. You can get 50 grams of protein in 1 shake.
Yeah.
Right. And you got that out of the way and all you need is another 75 or something with your 3 or 4 or 2 or 3 meals. Yeah. So that's why I would always say, keep 1 in the pantry. So those are the basics for every human being. And if I could get the whole world to do that, Zane, we would have a health cabinet instead of a medicine cabinet.
Right.
You do that from the beginning of time.
Yeah.
And you're not going to have, there's always exceptions to that. The medicine's got its place. We've just abused it,
right.
So bottom line, if we could do that, you'd be shocked between osteoporosis, between dementia, between all these things. Because everything, don't forget that multi has got your B12 and folate, all the things that help with cognitive control, all of that. Mm-hmm. Now, you want to go to the next thing? So that's the basics.
Yeah.
Okay, so now let's say this is where, to your point, let's just say there's no budget restrictions. Now you're
Yeah.
moving into this whole thing for your health. When I say that, you should budget for your health rather than budgeting for, other stuff. This is to protect your activity, the things we just talked about, to stay active and independent throughout a lifetime. Now, you want to go to the next level, you start getting into things like there are some what we call carotenoids, like lutein, zeaxanthin. These are all structures of our eyes. They're indispensable role in eye development and in eye health and in protecting from all the problems, because they protect us from the ultraviolet rays. They're part of the structure. There's a way we measure this stuff called, I think, macular pigmentation, optical density, and the more lutein and zeaxanthin, the higher that is, and that's how we can tell how strong your eye is going to be throughout life. In fact, I would easily argue that those two should actually be considered now essential nutrients. They just don't fit into the categories. A lot of things that are essential that they haven't classified as essential, but you can't get it. You can't make it. They're carotenoids. They have to be supplied in the diet, and guess where they come from? Fruits and vegetables. No one eats them.
Yeah.
The average American gets 1.5 servings of those things, and you need 9.
So,
yeah. And then the next one, now you're getting into the probiotics and prebiotics. Right. Just roll those two together. Because a prebiotic is a fiber. Okay. But you can buy it like that. You can buy a prebiotic as well. And all it is just fiber. Prebiotics are your vegetables. People just aren't eating vegetables. 1.5 servings the average American gets. You got to have 9 vegetables and fruits combined. So the issue is that a prebiotic feeds the probiotics. Your gut is your gut is what scientists call the second brain of the body.
Right.
Well, I call it the first brain because it's the one connected to the environment that sends information to your brain.
Yeah.
That's all connected to all parts of your body. Your gut, which is that tube, from your mouth to your anus, all the way through there, and then so it's constantly communicating. And so we've got the trillions, literally trillions, of good bugs and bad bugs in our gut. And when the bad bugs overwhelm the good bugs, then all of a sudden everything's going haywire because you're killing off the good bugs. Bad bugs are taking over. They're now giving you, and I hate using this term. I use it because that's what the layperson understands, leaky gut. And all it means it causes excessive permeability between your gut lining and inside your body. It's letting bad shit into your body. Yeah. Because you're giving it, because of the American diet, the Western diet just sucks, as you know, right? And then you got the regular. We all live in a polluted world. I mean, you can't argue that,
right?
Other than blue zones we were talking about, which I don't want to live there. So, bottom line is we're stuck with where we live. So you got all these things attacking it, and your brain, your second brain, still call it the first, is now measuring all this stuff and sending signals throughout your body. So what you do with a prebiotic, you force the good bacteria in your body to eat it and grow from it. It pushes the bad guys out. And that's why people can't take fiber. The average American gets like 10 grams of fiber a day, and you need about 28, 30 if you're a guy, 25 if a female. Well, you can't get it. That's why when you introduce fiber, like a prebiotic, like our Super Blend, when I started having people use it and go, God, my stomach. Yeah, what it's doing is healing your stomach. Yeah. It's pushing the bad guys out, and the good guys are now flourishing and pushing it out. So after a few weeks, it takes about 6 weeks to get used to adding fiber to your diet. So you got to do it slow. So a good probiotic-prebiotic combination, okay? But probiotics, they're really, really huge. And what you're trying to do with them, you're trying to recolonize the bugs. So your trillions and trillions of bugs that are in your body, they're in your gut, sitting out there. They're constantly creating chemicals and sending them in through your gut into your bloodstream, into the lymph. Here's a big one. Most people don't know. 70% of your entire immune system is on your gut. Damn. 70%. So guess what? You got bad bugs in there? Yeah. You got a shitty immune system. Yeah. It's letting in the bad guys, because otherwise it can block bad guys, eat the bad guys. But the bad guys start to overwhelm and they just eat the good guys, right? So that's why the probiotics are really important. And there's some amazing science along with body composition, because it can actually create chemicals to keep you from absorbing some of the fat calories. There's all kinds of amazing stuff going on with the microbiome, because that's what we're talking about.
Is there a number 7?
Well, when you talk about CoQ10, I heard you mention it on there, CoQ10 and alpha lipoic acid. The reason CoQ10 is so popular, as we get older, okay, our body actually makes CoQ10. It's coenzyme, 10. we actually make it, and we also can extract some from foods. Alpha lipoic acid, sort of the same thing. So CoQ10, alpha lipoic acid, these are two things that our body cannot make them very well anymore as we get older. And that's in the 20s, it stops making it as well as it did. And not only that, from diet now, you don't extract it from diet very well as we get older. Once you get 30, 40, your digestive system, usually, it can't get the same extraction. So what you do by substituting those, by supplementing, you're bringing your CoQ10 and your alpha lipoic acid levels back to your youthful levels when you add more energy, because they're involved in producing energy. So the electron transport chain is where we make ATP. CoQ10 is, without it, you can't make any ATP, so you game over. Alpha lipoic
ATP
is the currency that makes you move.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. Even when you blink, you're using ATP. That's the only way you can move is to produce ATP. Yeah. So, and of course, this is involved in extracting the energy from our foods and then turning it into ATP so we can move. Alpha lipoic acid, CoQ10 are in that electron transport chain that make that happen. But they're also powerful antioxidants, and they work in different areas. And what makes alpha lipoic acid so unique is that it's not just a water soluble, it's also lipid soluble. There is no antioxidant like that. So it becomes very specialized in different areas of the body to help protect you from things, from excess free radicals, right? So it's a powerful antioxidant. And the same thing with CoQ10. Yeah. But it's a chemical in the body. It's a molecule that's naturally there. And what happens is, as we age, we get into our late 20s and early 30s, as we go, and of course 40s, 50s, CoQ10 levels that we need for our energy levels goes down, goes down, goes down. Alpha lipoic goes down, goes down. So I make sure people get that along with zeaxanthin and lutein. Just put it all in one thing and get it all, knock it down all in one swallow.
But that would be your after?
That would be after probiotics with that. For the average person. Now for an athlete, they're going with the zeaxanthin, lutein, alpha lipoic acid, and CoQ10 right off the bat. All of our athletes are on all of that. Yeah. Right there, because it also helps with visual performance. Yeah. And hand-eye for an athlete, that's so important. Yeah. I'm talking about, this is all preventative stuff here. We're talking about protection. Just as we age, those things decline, and our ability to extract those things from food. Remember, these are things that are naturally found in the body. We're trying to improve what's naturally found in the body. Yeah. Get it up to the levels that you were when you were young and immortal. To keep you that way, to keep you active. So you can recover from daily activities. Not just recovering from exercise, just life itself. Pollution, all the stuff that we deal with, everything that we have to deal with.